Beloved and respected, blessed families throughout the world. In Korea, June is observed as the month of patriots and veterans, a time to deeply reflect on the meaning of people's sacrifices, dedication, and the inheritance of that spirit. Additionally, as True Mother has reminded us, this is also the month in which we remember the noble spirit and sacrifice of young people from more than 60 nations who participated in the Korean War to safeguard freedom and peace, or in the post-war reconstruction effort. And we reflect with gratitude on the debt of grace we owe them. This is also a transitional period during which we conclude the first half of the year and prepare for the second. As we experience the first day of June, I pray that the love of our Heavenly Parent and grace of our true Parent will touch your families and your lives. In last week's message, I emphasized that the central mission in this era of the firm settlement of Cheon does not end with the planting of trees, through witnessing and numeric growth, but must go on to include the creation of an environment in which the faith of members of the new generation and those who have joined can firmly take root. I also shared how blessed the family's faith becomes stronger when it is inherited through the bonds that connect the generations, and the importance of the second and third generation members firmly establishing their faith. Together, we reflected on the need for all of us to become wise growers of Cheon, cultivating our families and communities into fertile forests where life can flourish. 2 weeks ago, I spoke about the Global Mission Recognition Ceremony. This week, I would like to explain the outcome of the Cheon Leader Open Forum, which was also held in commemoration of the 6th anniversary of True Parent Holy Wedding and the 1st anniversary of the entrance into Cheon. The Open Forum was conducted over 4 days from May 4 to May 7, with 40 participants, including continental and regional directors, and plus emerging leaders from each continent. In the spirit of a real roundtable meeting, participants engaged in open and candid discussions regarding the various challenges they are facing in the mission field and sought practical solutions together. In particular, we looked at some newly developed guidelines for pastors and public officials and for public asset management. Through various discussion sessions, the voice of the leaders were heard and a wide range of perspectives and recommendations shared. During the discussion on the guideline for pastors and public officials, leaders asked questions and made suggestions on reporting structures, the scopes of a leader's authority and job descriptions, personnel appointment, evaluation, welfare, and how differences in various national laws and cultural realities should be reflected in the regulations. In response to this, the World Mission Headquarters explained that it plans to actively reflect the voices from the mission field in a realistic recognition of authority and procedures, and to continuously improve human rights protections, whistleblowers protection mechanisms, and address welfare and retirement issues. It was also reaffirmed that the purpose of such regulations is not to exert control over the mission areas, but rather to establish common standards that will enable us to properly inherit true parent tradition and build healthy faith communities. Furthermore, it was agreed that an international committee will be established to continually gather input from the regions of the world and further refine these regulations going forward. In the discussion on regulations for public asset management, the background to and purpose of the creation of these regulations was shared, and the leaders were unanimous that the transparent and professional management of public assets is essential for the sustainable safeguarding of the foundation for the providence in the future. Particular attention was given to reviewing implementation procedures that consider the diverse circumstances of the regions and local ministries. Through discussing anticipated concerns and challenges that may arise during the implementation process, participants sought ways to uphold the intent of regulation while allowing for the realities confronted in the field. Success stories and case studies in asset management and problem solving were shared, demonstrating practical approaches not only for maintaining the church's assets, but also for enhancing their value and establishing self-sustaining foundations. The session concluded with participants expressing their expectation that these regulations would not just serve as administrative guidelines, but as an important institutional framework for protecting public assets entrusted to us by heaven and for passing them on responsibly to ensuing generations. An open and candid discussion with the leaders raised several important points. First, participants acknowledged that there are limitations to maintaining existing structures amid ongoing financial challenges and affirmed the need to establish self-sustaining foundations over the long term. Second, they recognize that overlapping and inefficient administrative procedures have repeatedly appeared throughout various organizational restructuring efforts, and shared the need to improve systems for greater administrative efficiency and standardization, including the development of comprehensive databases. Third, While participants noted that communication between headquarters and the mission field has improved the recent years, they also requested clear channels of communication as well as more clearly defined visions and phased goals. In response, we committed ourselves to setting more realistic objectives and presenting a more concrete vision for the future. Immediately following the forum, an extra meeting with the leaders was held to recognize the reporting system by continent and district. Through these discussions, I reaffirmed my determinations as Director General of the World Mission Headquarters to faithfully fulfill the role of a bridge between true parent and mission field. I also emphasized that in this era, each and every member is called to become a central figure in heaven's providence and a true son or daughters of Cheon, fulfilling his or her responsibility and mission. Dear brothers and sisters, through this open forum, we discussed the regulations for pastors and public officials and for public asset management, plus organizational operation and communication systems. At first glance, these topics may seem somewhat administrative or institutional in nature. However, their purpose is not simply to impose rules or manage organizations. Every policy and system represents a shared commitment to creating an environment in which our members can lead, heal their lives of faith, and in which the new generation can confidently inherit the tradition of faith. As I shared in last week's message, the key task in this era of the settlement of Cheon is that creation of the environment must precede the planting of trees, that is, witnessing and church growth, which have been our primary focus in the past. Healthy families create healthy communities, and healthy communities protect the faith of future generations. Therefore, the starting point of creating the environment for Cheon is not found in grand plans, but within ourselves and our families, the main focus of our life of faith. With this in mind, why not make one small promise together with your family this week? It can be a simple and practical commitment between husband and wife, between parents and children, or among all family members. Expressing words of gratitude once each day, sharing a meal together, or setting aside time for hundoke and prayer through a family worship service. These small practices can become meaningful first steps in creating the environment necessary for the settlement of Cheon. Cheon is not a nation that someone else will build for us. It is a community that all of us must build together. My sincere hope is that during this coming week, each of you will cultivate an atmosphere of love and trust, beginning in your own family, and become proud owners of the work of creating the Cheon environment, inheriting the will of our Heavenly Parent, and tradition of true parent. Thank you, and God bless you.